My mother called me her little miracle in every birthday card until I was 12. That was the year I found out what the word actually meant in our family. After my parents split, my dad stayed in the house. Mom got the apartment across town and I went with her because that's what the judge decided and nobody asked me. Dad called every Sunday without fail. Not texts, actual calls, the kind where you had to talk back. I used to pace my room for those 30 minutes, wishing I could just let it go to voicemail. He came to every single school thing. The science fair where I got 3rd place, the winter concert where I forgot my lines, the parent-teacher nights where other kids showed up with one parent, and I somehow had both, standing 6 feet apart like opposing magnets. I was embarrassed by him without being able to explain why. Then Mom met Craig when I was 15, and everything quietly shifted. Craig had a boat. Craig had stories. Craig called me champ, and meant it in a way that landed differently than anything my dad ever said. I started measuring my dad against Craig the way you measure a used car against a new one, pointing out every rattle and scratch. I told my friends my dad was kind of a lot. I let Mom's casual comments about the divorce calcify into something I called my own opinion. The summer I turned 17, Dad asked if I wanted to go back to this lake we used to visit when I was 7. I said I was busy. Craig took me fishing that same weekend, and I posted the photos. 3 weeks before my graduation, Dad mailed me a card with a check and a handwritten note. The note said he was proud of me, and that he knew things had gotten harder between us, and that he wasn't sure what he'd done, but he was sorry for it. He said he'd be at graduation if I wanted him there, or he'd stay home if that made it easier on me. He said either way he loved me and meant it. I showed the card to Mom. She made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh, and said something about how he always knew how to make himself the victim. I put the card in my desk drawer. Graduation day, I was scanning the bleachers for Craig's red hat when I spotted my dad in the 3rd row. He wasn't on the aisle. He wasn't positioned to be seen. He was just sitting there in a button-down shirt with a small bouquet of flowers balanced on his knee, watching the processional with this expression I didn't have a word for yet. Not sad, exactly. Something quieter than sad. I looked at him for a long time without him knowing. He clapped for every single name called before mine. I watched him do it. Not the polite 2-second clap people do when they're waiting. Real applause for strangers' kids for the full duration, every time. When they called my name, he stood up. He was the only person in his section standing. The flowers shifted in his grip, and he caught them, and he was smiling so hard his eyes were doing something I'd been too old for too long to let myself recognize. After the ceremony, I went to him before I went to anyone else. I don't know why. My feet just made the decision. He hugged me the way you hug someone you thought you might not get to hug, and I felt 3 years of choreographed distance collapse in about 4 seconds. He didn't say anything about the lake. He didn't mention the card or whether I'd read it. He just held those slightly crushed flowers out and said he was glad he came. In the car home, I asked Mom what exactly had happened with the divorce. Not her version, I told her. What actually happened? She was quiet for a long time. Then she said it was complicated. That was the first time her answer felt like an answer. I called my dad that Sunday, and the Sunday after. By the 3rd call, I started letting the conversation go past 30 minutes. By the 4th, I stopped pacing.